Good evening, everyone. Um, Good afternoon, good morning to people, attendees. I know you've joined from various different destinations. My name is Sam Hussain. I'm one of the directors for BLS Global. As you know, we're quite instrumental in this industry as we provide independent advice and also promotion in terms of a number of immigration and migration opportunities. And today we're here to focus on US immigration via the EB-5 program. A lot of you are fully aware of the EB-5 program, or some of you are potentially thinking of doing the EB-5 program. And we know there's a lot of potential changes coming up. So as a company, what we do a lot of due diligence on a number of projects that we believe is very strong in the market, and that we honestly believe that, you know, the founders and the people that are in this industry are very passionate in order to get you your green card, and of course to potentially get your money back, because EB-5 it is at risk, and that's one of the key criteria. And today's webinar is about real estate business in the US capital currently, which gives you an opportunity to invest in a direct project at 500,000. We know there's Juan and Eduardo. There's a lot of changes that are happening March 11th, and we're hearing potentially March 15th. But I think, you know, you guys got a good start because you've got a hybrid model in terms of direct as well as regional center, which, you know, I'm sure you can explain. But let me firstly introduce you to the audience. You know, we have here Eduardo Machado. Is a partner at Feria, a senior professional with 20 years experience in operations management and project management, a master's degree in supply chain management and master's degree in maritime law and business. Eduardo was the director operations for Spanish conglomerate for more than 8 years before becoming an entrepreneur. Eduardo, I hope this webinar is not going to be in Spanish, so we are going to struggle, but let's keep it in English for everyone's sake.
Sure.
Also a system engineer. Eduardo has been the major driving force for this Feria development since concept. And then we have Juan Salas here as well. He's also a partner at Feria. I see that they're very well communicated and they work very hard together. You know, as a chef, an entrepreneur with 15 years of experience, you know, working in Paris, in hotelier, in Lausanne, co-founder and executive chef at Coma Cuisine in Venezuela. I'm still waiting for the invitations to these wonderful locations. Established in 2003, currently operating a full-service restaurant, a French bakery and pastry shop in 4 chocolate shops in Caracas. Now, why am I doing this is because it's really important that you as an investor really have inside knowledge to the founders and what their background is. Because a lot of people look at projects and they look at the material, but they don't also do a lot of due diligence on the founder. And the people here are very passionate about, you know, the EB-5 as well as the project. And that's one of the reasons why we're quite pleased to be, you know, marketing their product to our audience, because, you know, a lot of people want to know, do they have skin in the game? Who are the founders? Are they going to monitor this? And this was very critical for us to really push this out to the market. Of course, we couldn't have Rebecca Singh from Mona Shah and Associates, because as you know, there's a lot of last minute filing and she does send her apologies, but we'll answer a lot of questions in terms of the projects today. But more importantly, if there is a legal questions, we are not an immigration lawyer, we're not an EB-5 expert, but we will take down your details and your questions and pass them over to the experts. But today it's really much, if you are going to be doing EB-5, direct or regional center within the last few days or weeks, it's really looking at their project and why Juan and Eduardo have investors and why, you know, people are, they're getting a very good interest into their project. So that's my introduction. Juan and Eduardo, who would like to go first and like kind of talk about your project?
Okay, Juan. Sam. If you don't mind, let me show you the screen so I can do a very quick presentation of the project using the presentation we already have. Probably some of the people already here have seen it from your material, but let's go over it very quickly. I'll try to be as quick as possible, so you can go as you don't get bored. Okay, but first, of course, hi everybody. Thank you for being here today. We hope, of course, you're all safe and sound. Things are getting better, but anyway, we'd like to share with you our Feria DC Direct and Regional Center project. Again, as Sam said before, we are a hybrid project. We are able to take investors. We will be taking investors from both programs if they continue. We hope you like it as much as we do. I mean, this is our lab project. It is very important for us. It is not just our life, but also our way of getting the U.S. residency and achieve our dreams of taking our families to the U.S. So when people ask us if our skin is in the game, not just our skin, is our necks on the line. So you know how we have at stake here. Okay, as we like to begin our presentation with, this is a time to dream big. And by big, we mean taking the opportunity to apply for the US green card through the EB-5 program. Also joining us in this wonderful project that would mean you getting your green card, but also allowing us to get ours too. Diving into the project, I want to start being clear about this. Feria is a private business. We provide space and get profit from rent. It is as simple as that. It is a real estate business. It will be the perfect solution for any chef that wants to open any sort of independent operation. As we state here, it is a hybrid tech on the restaurant retail operations. It will increase the operations profit ratio while allowing the operators to serve everyone in the premises without lines, barriers. This will allow them to maximize their exposure, provide a full service experience to their customers. Basically, and to make it a long story short, this is like we most of you probably know, we work with restaurants, okay? Feria is located in Washington, D.C.'s downtown area. It will have 8 fully equipped kitchens, also 8 shops. The offer will be chef-driven and high-quality culinary proposals. Of course, setting will be very modern and very casual. And that is us providing that, okay? So the Feria business model is part of a surge in sharing economy businesses such as Airbnb, Uber, and similar that we already know and are already all around us. Culinary halls like Feria have become the fastest growing retail niche in the food industry, according to several industry magazines. I can quote, for example, globebest.com that has an article on that on their page. It would be fair to ask why it's different than other EB-5 projects. Well, it's simple. It has very fast time to market, means faster residence process. Also means that your funds are going to be being saved back for repayment sooner. It has great returns, much better than the regular EB-5 project. This is a personal decision, and we think it is fair to share our profits with our investors. Again, this is our lab project, so this is our decision. These are 2 guys managing and handling this project. Also, we have a solid performance. We have an experienced team and a very thorough process development. And at least 90% of the space will be occupied to start. We already have several chefs and other vendors willing to come in and rent from us. And this is our worst case scenario target. So should be full by the time we open. Okay, we make a little pause to show you this. This is the actual building. As you can see, the place already there waiting for us to go in. The rest of the tenants, which we'll discuss further along our presentation, already moved or moving in. So this means we already have clients waiting for people to go in and make their offers. This is the location, okay? The location in Washington, D.C. And as you know, the 3 most important words in real estate business are location, 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 especially for this kind of business. And we have the best location possible. This is a perspective of the building you already saw before, done from the top of the convention center. You can see how close it is to a convention center, the biggest Apple store in the country, which is in front of us, the Capital One Arena, down a little bit farther in the center of the graphic. The Capital One Arena is where the hockey team plays and the basketball team plays. As you see, the Capitol, the National Mall, Union Station are also close by. The White House is also close, but it's in another direction. Also, City Center is less than a block away. This is a Norman Foster development with residences, shopping center. It has the best shops. You can find Gucci, Chanel, Dior. It is great for us because it brings a lot of people to the area. This is a map of what's really going on around the location commercially. You can see the whole shopping experience I was telling you about, among many other things. You can find many hotels nearby. We can start with the Marriott Marquis, the Conrad, and just to name a few. Also, we have a Renaissance right beside us. It will be rebranded to make it much more appealing, but it's going to be, a close hotel. It's less than a street away. You can also see that it's very well communicated with the rest of the city. And please notice that if anybody wants to go from the convention center to the mall, to the National Mall, where all the monuments are, or the metro, they have to pass by Feria. So it's a sure shot location. So what's happening market-wise on this area? Demographically, we have a median age that's pretty young. That translates into people that's curious about food and new experiences. City has been growing steadily since 2010s. Great number of daytime employees, great average household income, 7,000 hotel rooms around us. This means a lot of potential clients coming in and going around the area. So that's people that need to be fed. We also have 217 annual convention center events, which is across the street. And 220 annual events on the Capital One Arena. That's combined, there are more than one event a day in the area. So that's thousands of people coming into this area. You will ask us how we make money. Very simple. This is a real estate business, so we collect money from rent. We rent our kitchen and store spaces. We have a base lease, and a share of their sales. So the more successful they are, the more successful this business is. And we also keep the bar operation for ourselves. You know that this is a very profitable part of every business of this kind in the US, and that's why we are keeping it. I mean, it is one of the more cash, how do you say, one of the areas that provide more income for any sort of food and beverage operation. This makes it simply, as our partner Chris likes to say, this makes us a landlord that's self-liquid, simple and very profitable. Okay, there are several other revenue sources, but let's focus into this because the other ones are to be developed. But these are what interests us the most, as you know, we are a real estate business. So how this opportunity works. The capital needed for development is 8.4 million that come from 12 EB-5 investor slots of $500,000 each. At this stage, with direct investment, we offer up to 5% interest annual rate. We already raised 1.67 million friends and family and $400,000 commercial investment. Sorry, this is 2 million, not 1.7. 2 million friends and family, 400,000 commercial investment from a corporation that wants to invest in the business. These funds will be used this way. 1.2 have already been spent in project design, engineering, consulting, lease, legal fees, etc. 5.4 are going into building, construction equipment. 1.8 million are going to startup funds and working capital. Also, we are getting, and this is post-construction, a landlord commitment of 1.67 million back to us at the end of construction again. And these funds will be used to begin saving to pay back our investors. So when this starts, we're going to have that money being saved. This is for an expected job creation of 156, sorry about that, 156 job posts. If the structure of a project is on a direct approach. And if we go back to the regional center structure, we can be creating at least 174 jobs. So it's even more. Let's go to a P&L. This is a summary, of course, of our prospective P&L. I don't want to get into deeply at this time, so you don't get bored. But I mean, as you can see, Feria has a very good return, and it's perfectly capable of delivering what we promised. Also, you can see that the first year we're getting those 1.67 million from the landlord cashback. This again will be used to start saving to pay back our investors. As you can see in the first months, I mean, we expect opening before the end of the year. So that's why we have a smaller share of return here. So we expect to work for the last couple of months of this year, open before the holidays, so we can make the most out of it. That's our goal for this stage. Okay, let's talk about the milestone of this project. Construction starts between May and June 2022. This will be depending on construction permits. It may take longer, but this is our objective. Again, this depends on construction permits. So we are already finalizing engineering. Architecture has been done already. It might take, I mean, so we're basically in the process of getting these permits. The liquor license for the operation of the bar has already been granted. Again, we have very fast time to market. Construction and setup is expected to be around 6 months. It is expected to last less than 20 weeks, but we like to run it up for 6 months. Also, the lease is already secure on this trophy location across the historic Carnegie Library building that you saw before. The Carnegie Library is a 200-year-old building. It's not that old for people that come from this side of the ocean, but it is very old for an American building. And the co-tenants on the building include on our building include the office from Apple that handles the government sales. So it handles a lot of business. Baker Botts, a big law firm. They moved their headquarters to that building to the 2 top floors actually. The fanciest brand of gyms in the country, which is Equinox. We work at least 3 whole floors there, and this is for us. This is great news. One of the biggest changes that the pandemic brought to our everyday lives is the possibility of working from wherever we want. So this means more business for people like we work, and in the meantime, more business for people like us. Okay, again, I'm gonna do a little bit of introduction. Juan, do you want to introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Well, as Sam already spoke a few things about me. First of all, hello everybody. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm a chef and entrepreneur. I studied at Le Cordon Bleu in Paris in hospitality in Switzerland at the École Hôtelière de Lausanne. I founded a business in 2003 called Como Cuisine in Venezuela. It's still operating. It's a family business. After that, we opened a restaurant and takeout shop in Fort Lauderdale, which we sold a couple of years back in order to focus myself completely on Feria. Okay, so me and Eduardo, we are going to be operating the Feria business on the ground, day to day. I'm going to be handling a little bit more of the operations aspect, supervising that all of these entrepreneurs are doing their job properly, that customers are being served right. And Eduardo is going to handle a bit more of the administration side.
Okay, again, going back to Sam's introduction, I'm a senior professional with more than 20 years in experience in operation management and project management. I did a master's degree in supply chain management and master's degree in maritime law and business here in Spain. I live in Spain. I'm from Spain. So one of the key aspects of this business is that if you don't get a visa, we don't get a visa, and we're looking forward to move with our family to the US. So our skin is on the line as much as it can be. I was director of operations for the biggest window covering corporation in Europe for, well, actually more than 10 years before quitting to set up Feria. Okay. Also in our team, and this is very important, we're associated with Sternberg Hospitality. I mean, when it comes to starting successful restaurants, Michael Sternberg has been there and done that. He's been done for developing a lot of restaurants in the DC area, very, very important restaurants. He was on the board of the DC Convention Center. He's also on the board of the National Restaurant Association. So, and he's fully back in the project. Okay. Also, we are in association with the Janu Group. Chris, it's our partner also in the Africa region. And he liked the project so much that he decided to invest and become a part of it. He's American, has been developing real estate businesses in Africa for several years now, specializing in hospitality real estate, also in real estate related to hospitality. He has been developing several hotel and food and beverage projects in the Zambia and South Africa regions, of course, as well as other South African countries and in the US. But he is South Africa based. Although we are very experienced in several businesses, we want to have the best team on EB-5 behind us. Of course, you know, the gold standard, and you already know BLS, Sam present. We have Mona Shah and Associates. That's why Rebecca was coming with us to help us out. One of the best and most famous lawyers in the EB-5 business. They process hundreds of visas every year. So if your investment, you can be sure that your EB-5 process is going to be not only safe, but as smooth as possible. JTC Americas, they will do the EB-5 funds administration. They will verify that the money is properly used in the project, and we provide the investors with updates on how the money is spent and the returns on the investment. So you can be sure somebody is always auditing what's going in the company. Also, and if we go back to the regional center strategy, we have 2 regional centers behind us. We have EB-5 affiliate networks and Causa from Puerto Rico. EB-5 affiliate networks is one of the biggest and most successful in the country. And Causa, which is our flag regional center, is not as big. It has, although it's not as big, it has 100 success in 100 success rate, and for them more than 10 billion in projects, especially in the Puerto Rico area. Described a lot of the project about the team, how this is really important for us, but I really want to go to our operational strengths as a way to finalizing the presentation. I mean, we have, this is something we'd like to share with our investors and give them as much confidence as possible, not just in their visa process, but also in the business and getting their money back, which of course is as important as getting their visa. We have a very successful cordon bleu chef, one of DC's most experienced restaurateur, which is Michael. Also, we're providing the best technology available in the business. We have the best location in the city. We're working with one of the best PR firms in the country, which is the Brand Guild. And we have minimal operational involvement in each restaurant. Again, we don't operate anything. We are only providing the real estate for them to develop their business. We need to only supervise that that their brand, we need to really develop their Feria business and protect the business and the investment. And of course, develop our Feria brand. Also, we are experts in the business and operations management. So we are basically 2 guys developing the project, and we want the investors to feel free to get in touch with us at any time and ask about the EB-5 process, the business, the funds, or just to come by and sit with their families and have dinner in Feria with us or by yourselves. This is our contact information, but I guess you'll have BLS contact information, which is helping us in the developing of the project. We will be delighted to help you with any inquiry. I mean, we can also answer any questions now if you have any. If you don't mind, Sam, I'm going to show a little bit of the design elements of the project. This is the architectural design we decided to have. So you can see kitchens, you can see 3 stores here, you can see a little bit of the bar, etc. So that part is done. The project is well ahead, and we're basically again waiting for permits to be granted. Okay. Sam, well, that's our presentation. Please guide us on how do you want us to proceed?
Yeah, so I'll advise the attendees to type in the questions while we, thank you, while we carry on, because this is the session where you really get money for your buck in hearing from the founders. In terms of obviously the project, we know there's some changes to the programs that's coming up, and a lot of people are deciding, do they go direct or do they go to the RC model? And I guess this is where you guys are quite positioned quite well, right? Because you have all the documentations in place for the regional center and the direct model. So just can Juan and Eduardo just elaborate to the investors why, if they go into this round or they wait for the RC model, that they can still, lock themselves into the Feria project?
Okay, we were a regional center project way before the thing stopped. I mean, when we finalized all the documents for the RC project, then the regional centers were not renovated. The program was not renovated, so we decided to go for the direct option that could still work for us. I mean, we're basically a hybrid project on that matter, and we can handle both applications. So if by any chance a direct regional center or the direct structure is not renovated or is discontinued, we can still apply for the business on a regional center structure, and we will continue with the regional center structure we already had. So if that's basically done, possibly we will need to update some documents on new fees, whatever. But and we were also a TEA project back when we had the regional center structure, and then we are also a TEA project with I mean the TEA letter was done in November last year, so December, so it's quite recent, and we expect to be also a TEA in the next iteration of the program. Juan, do you want to elaborate on that?
Yes, I see a couple of questions about the TA status. So we initially we were TA status before the new regulations, and with the new regulations that are coming in place, we will also be TA. We will also benefit from TA status. So that's a great asset for us.
Okay. Juan, I see several questions. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Juan.
Yeah. So I also want to ask you, Juan and Eduardo, once they see, like, a lot of investors look at your material and brochures, they think you're like a restaurant. But, this is why when I say that it's a real estate project, right?
No. The cool thing about this project is we get to have the same fun as restaurants do, but we are not a restaurant. We just lease space. That's a key part of this. And people would come to us, where did you have this business idea? And it's very, very simple. In this part of the world, Sam, you're in the UK, so you know this as well as I do. We have very traditional city markets. And if you go to city markets here, you can sit at the bars and have a blast of people. I mean, a blast of people who have so much fun sitting at the market restaurants that we say, well, this is great. Let's provide people who cannot actually go into restaurants on their own. Let's provide them a really cool platform to develop their business, and we can cash on that. And that's what we're doing. I mean, we're basically renting. So one of the questions we just saw a little back. I mean, these numbers or the numbers we say we're providing are there for real. I mean, they're not just for real. They're very conservative. So we expect to be I mean, I don't want to sell smoke, but we expect to even be better than that, because after the pandemic, it was like they want to go out like crazy. I mean, DC is fully back on track, and everything is packed. So we want to make the most out of it.
Yeah, I think Eduardo and Juan, you're complete. You know, in the events industry, some of the attendees here probably met their partners at a bar, so they can relate to this, right? So events industry is about to, you know, be booming again. You know, there's a lot of demand. You know, that's where a lot of people are concerned, like how COVID is going to impact this. But if we look at the current situation, you know, the government's been much more relaxed on COVID. There's more corporate companies, a lot more individuals want to have more activities with events. And, you know, because there's a lot of revenue stream that you guys have on this. And perhaps Juan and Eduardo, you know, you've just been very optimistic on your sales, and there's a lot of additional revenues. So, you know, because in the day, you know, it's a lot of revenue generation. Could you expand in a bit more about, you know, why you're expecting, you know, an increase or a booming, you know, why do you believe this will be a booming market?
Okay, well, there are several things to consider. Let's go into the market. I mean, again, people, it's crazy to go out. What is happening with COVID, especially we're seeing it very soon, or very immediately in Europe, is that we are seeing that it's going to be treated as a common cold very soon. So restrictions have been off, etc. That's going to happen everywhere. Fortunately, COVID is still affecting operations, but it's not affecting health as much. So people are much relaxed on that. People is crazy to go back to going out. That's happening. The economy, although inflation is very high, the economy is going back for good. I mean, this is the United States. I mean, it's not like, you know, if it were here in Spain, I would tell you, guys, the economy is not coming back for a long time. But there, they can do it in 3 days. And we have several, of course, let's say, stumbles now with the situation in Russia or Ukraine or wherever. But you know that they're going to be okay, and that's basically why we all want to go there, isn't it? So that's one. And regarding to our other revenue sources, let me go very quickly over them. We have a dedicated kitchen for events, for these guys to make events. Or for example, you, Sam, if you want to go with your team and do a Christmas dinner, you can bring your team there, or your best clients of the year or whatever, and do like a show off of what's going on in Feria, and everybody can cook for you, especially. Again, that's for rent. We are renting that space.
Not only that, one thing, DC is famously known for private political lobby, government organizations, non-governmental organizations. I mean, there's so many happening in DC in the business aspect that the city is really well known in these type of events. So apart from the convention center that we have in front of us, that's going to start doing events now, and the hockey and basketball stadium a couple blocks from us. The city is, people are already going back to work. I mean, if you go to the city now, you will start seeing again people in suits and ties walking to work. So that's something that was not happening during the pandemic. So the people are starting to go back to the office. And the good thing is that we have 5 or 6 different companies in our building, just in our building. So we have a huge potential and a huge market inside our building. Okay. So possibilities are I'm not gonna say endless, but are huge.
Okay. Also, I mean, Juan, when you said the convention center was about to start, the convention center is already working. They had a very successful auto show like a month and a half ago. I was there, so I can tell you that it was full, packed with people. And people were not. I mean, they were protecting themselves, but they were like really, I mean, really happy to be there. And this is across the street from us. I see somebody here asking where is our head office. The head office it's in Washington DC, a couple blocks away from Feria. Okay, Sam, if you don't mind, let me ask some of the questions very quickly that we see here.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's Feria. I could go over the questions here.
Go ahead. Juan.
So is Feria franchise? If so, how many locations? So this is the first location we are opening. The first, our plans is that we are gonna open up to 5 locations between 10, 15 years from now. So this is gonna be the first location. We see it as a platform play. So if you, the idea is to open this Feria and open several more across the country. I mean, there's a question here. Do you accept cryptocurrency as the investment? I mean, if you can prove the source of those funds and that cryptocurrency can be converted into dollars, I mean, I'm sure there won't be a problem.
Yeah. I think this is becoming quite popular, and this is something that you should really speak to your attorney about, because we know there's a lot of people that have invested a lot into Bitcoins and various, and as long as you can show the flow and the source, and it's accepted by the attorney and immigration, Eduardo and Juan as the project sponsor can, accept you in there.
Yeah, okay, I don't have any problem.
Okay. So when your EB-5 process is finished and all the jobs have been created for the time that they have to be, we will repay your entire capital and that's it. I mean, your exit will be that. In 4 to 5 years, we'll pay you your capital back, and that's it.
Because again, people got to understand, EB-5 is a program that's devised to get your green card, and obviously it depends on the project, on the preferred returns, and a strong project that you've done, low risk in order to get your money back. Because that's the whole idea. It's not gonna be a stock market investment. It is very much an investment for the green card purposes, and that's why you've got Eduardo and Juan, who's, they've actually, as I said, skin in the game. They put a lot of capital into this because they honestly believe in this. And it's not something that they've just created. They've, used a company like Baker Tilly to do this, which is a well-renowned international company, to make sure it's structured in a way to satisfy immigration purposes. Juan and Eduardo, is there any other questions that stand out for you there?
Yeah, well, let me elaborate on what you just said, Sam. So just so people know, we're not just only going to manage this on a day-to-day basis, so they can be sure that the same people that's developing the project is also handling the project on a getting their sleeves up and doing the work, but also that all our services are into this project. So our when I said back there, our neck is on the line, not just our skin. And that's true. I mean, we have invested everything into this project. We are fully dedicated to this project now. A couple of days back, somebody asked me, what else was I doing? No, I'm not doing anything. We are fully dedicated to this project, and that's how it needs to be. I mean, we really need to guarantee that your visa is coming through, so ours can come through too. Okay. So that's basically our most assurance, or our biggest assurance, that we are we have the biggest we are the biggest risk runners on this project. Okay, so be assured that we need to make this project a reality, not just a reality, but we really need to be sure that it works. Okay, we have somebody is asking how many investors. We have 7 investors doing source of funds process. Okay, which entity owns the real estate? We own the lease. We own the. I mean, we are letting the space. What else? Are your accounts audited? Yes, they will be audited by ETS American. And if we go back to the regional center, also CAUSA will be assuring the use of funds. So they will verify what's going on with them and making sure that we are using the funds. I mean, that's part of our deal. We use the funds on the project, not on anything else. Seems fair. So.
People are obviously looking at projects. There's potentially an extension. I know there's talk about March the 11th, potentially March the 15th. What do they need to do to lock themselves in? Like, partial payments or fully upfront? What's your flexibility as a sponsor?
Oh, we are fully flexible. I mean, if we have one investor that it is trying to liquidate their assets back in Cameroon, actually, and he just gave us a part over, let's say what we call in Spanish a signal, okay, that he's fully committed and he's trying to sell properties and whatever he has, and then coming into the project. But he already has like a commitment with us, so we don't mind on that. I mean, that's very, very common in this kind of project or in the EB-5 industry. I mean, not everybody has 500,000, or in case of the new amount, 800,000, lying out in the sun or just in the bank waiting to rust there. So people has investments, and the sensible thing to do is to wait until they get their money back from those investments.
We can take a partial investment of between $50,000 and $100,000 in order for the investor to submit their application. The source of funds have to be done for the entire amount, so the investor has to know exactly where the funds are coming from, but they can submit a partial investment. Okay. I see a lot of questions here. Exit strategy, we talked about that. So EB-5 is a program in which you invest, you get your green card, and when you get your green card, we repay you the capital and you leave the project, okay? What types of jobs? I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, what one if like you've got some people, if they really like the project and you're talking about expanding locations is key. Can they reinvest their capital into new locations, or are you guys going to purely use EB-5 capital?
Yes. They perfectly can. I mean, it would be great for us to develop a relationship with some of the investors. I mean, and have them invest in all of our future locations there and projects. So yes, if they really like the project and feel comfortable with us as a team and how we're doing things, they can perfectly reinvest in the company.
So Eduardo and Juan, you guys are very experienced in this field. People are concerned that would these jobs be retained? Because each investor has to show 10 jobs. What are you seeing in the market in terms of retention and everything?
In terms of retention, first, I also saw. I will answer 2 questions at the same time. In terms of sourcing, I mean, there is we already have a very good team in the city that is very experienced with the job creation and the sources of the pools we need to create. That's the first thing. Also, we are in a very good relationship with agents, employment agents in this kind of industry. Also, we have a very good relationship with several schools where people are basically studying for this kind of industry. I can name a couple of them. One it comes from Catholic Charities, sorry, and the other is Carlos Rosario, which is originally from a Puerto Rican family that developed this in DC. I mean, they're big, very, very big, and we have a great relationship with them. Also, there is no need to keep the person employed for the whole period. I mean, if somebody needs to leave, we need to resource that post and fill that up with some other person. It doesn't have to be the same guy. It can actually be for let's say 3-month periods, or as long as the job are being created and the jobs are there, then they're considered to be created by the state. Okay, so there is no shortage of need of people in this kind of project. So we actually need them to operate for Feria. So that's an assurance that what we want to do needs these kind of people, and they will be contracted. If it is the same guy from the beginning to the start, we hope so, but we don't need, it doesn't need to happen. Also, regarding to the exit strategy, when these 156 jobs from the direct investment are created, and once the government is assured that they have been created, we can start giving your money back. And we expect that to happen between the top part of the 3rd year, 4th year, up to the 5th year. I mean, even we expect not to have to reach the 5th year to give your money back. You can still have the interest rate or being paid the interest for the 5th year, but you can have your money back before that. So that's not our problem. Any other questions?
Okay, so I think, like, a lot of these people, they're asking quite similar questions in terms of the jobs, which is important for EB-5. And if we obviously, once the regional center gets reauthorized, you're going to have more indirect jobs, right? So your projection. Yeah. So based on your business plan, you have enough job creations for direct as well as indirect.
Yes, we do.
Yes. So the other questions that we're getting is obviously people probably want to see some kind of activity, with COVID, with restrictions. Do they come and see you guys in Spain or Venezuela or DC? What would you advise to people that want to see something?
Well, I'm actually now in between Miami and DC.
Okay.
So if someone wants to meet us, wants to go meet them and see the project site, we will happily meet you either in DC, either here in Miami, here in Spain, and we'll go over the project, have a coffee, maybe have lunch, but we will gladly meet in person. We understand that this is a big commitment from your part, and we, as Eduardo said, there are 2 of us involved in this project, and our idea is to offer you a direct line of communication with the project founders and the developers. That's something you're probably not going to have with these other big EB-5 projects. So it's something you can take advantage of. So as Sam said, yes, we can meet in person if you guys think it's necessary, and go over the project.
and it's understandable. You at least want to meet the guy you're gonna lend $500,000, and it's super understandable. I would do it.
Again, we have a question in terms of how long will it take for the green card? So again, this is an immigration-related question. There's a lot of figures that's been thrown out, but again, it depends on which country you're applying from, because certain visa allocations are geared towards certain countries. So this is a question that I would advise you to throw back at us and speak to the attorney, as they've showed on the presentation. Mona Shah's office, it depends on how quickly you can get the paperwork, how quickly you can get the paperwork done, get the source of funds in place, how quickly your attorney can file. Because we're expecting some changes in the market in the next few days, actually. So again, that's a question for the attorney. In terms of you as a project sponsor, what's your preference, Eduardo, being on the direct and the regional center model? What do you, if you as an investor, what would you prefer?
That's if I have to be extremely honest with this. I would say any will work for us. What would have been nicer if if I could pick? Probably the regional center structure. Not because any difference on how we are going to operate the business or but also because of course we have more posts in there, which is great, nicer for us. We can even take more investors than we need, which is not happening, not necessary, but that brings us a lot more flexibility in any case. But I mean, direct would be. I think direct would be nicer on how quickly it can be done. How can it's simpler. So I would say any. I mean, any of them. All of them has
not only that
qualities. Huh?
Not only that, I think direct, you have more contact and communication with the developers. And you can get more feedback and have a more direct communication. In the regional center model, your contact person is actually the guys from the regional center, not so much the project. So if I was an investor, I would like direct because of that, but they're both good options. In our case,
as we are being two of us, they can always have access to us directly.
That's where I was going. That's where I was going. In our case, since we're a small project, and it's the two of us, regional center or no regional center, we will be there for you. We understand how important this investment is for you and your future. So
I have a question in terms of the changes to the EB-5 program this month. What's the impact? Well, it's very simple. At the moment, it's 500,000. The proposed bill is 800. So you're going to pay 300,000 more. So that's the difference. That's the case.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's the case. So it's something that's completely out of our control, out of our hand. So if we have Eduardo and Juan, you have a lot of investors that love this project and they're happy to pay the 800 because it's purely they can't get all the paperwork done. So you guys having a lot of communication with people.
We have a couple of guys that already said, listen, I'm not arriving to the date with all the documents. So let's talk next week and see how can we organize everything from next week on. So we have several investors that's happening with their source of funds. So well, that's also not a problem. I mean, it has to happen. And this has been taking everybody by surprise. That the thing that it might not continue on the direct way. It's good for us because we have the another option. We can do it both ways. But probably a lot of projects are going down because of this.
We had a question about the funding for the project. So it's going to be, we as private equity, family and friends, and our own investment, we've raised and invested $2.4 million. And then there's going to be $6 million in EB-5 funds. Okay. So that's basically the capital that's going to be invested in the project. If there's another question here, if I get denied for my visa, will my investment be returned? Yes. If you get denied, you will be returned your investment.
But I think Juan and Sam, you can be more clear on this than I can. If you go with the right lawyer, you shouldn't have your visa denied.
Yes,
and that's why we have one of the greatest in the business. So if you want to talk to them, you just can let us know, or Sam, which is also on a good relationship with them, and they can or we can put you up with Mona and their team, and they can help you out.
If there's a possibility you'll get denied, I mean, I'm sure Mona will tell you, look, we need to straight out your source of funds and everything, because if we do it this way, it's not going to get approved. So I mean,
you have a quite. I mean, it doesn't have to be immediate. It takes a while. You have a comfortable amount of time to determine where the funds have been or how they have been obtained. So it's a process that needs no rush, and it shouldn't be rushed at all. And that's the first thing they will tell you.
I agree with you, Juan, Eduardo. A lot of people come to me and said, "Oh, I'll just speak to my lawyer." Your lawyer locally in your jurisdiction wouldn't have the same skill sets as the EB-5 immigration lawyer in the US. And also it's very important to understand is that lawyer or the attorney will only be taken on your case if they feel that you're going to get approved, because they've gone through a lot of approvals and denials. So that's why it's so important that you work closely with them and you're very transparent in terms of your funds. Because, there might be a lot of situations where, it's not like you can show dollar by dollar. It's not very an easy process, but they'll always give you a solution, which, it meets the criteria for immigration. So again, we've seen horrible situations. We've seen brilliant situations where people are like, oh yes, it's just a salary. That's great. Some people have a lot of business. They make a lot of cash money, especially if they're in the restaurant industry. But this is where the attorney has to work out the best way. It could be also potentially an investment that's gifted by your friends and family. So a number of occasions where they can't show the source of funds, it can also be gifted by a relative. But as long as that friends and family or relative can actually show that source, that can work. So this is something that you really need to speak to the attorney. And we always say, please use an expert attorney on this. And attorneys are very selective on projects as well. They don't just choose any projects. The immigration attorneys that we work with, they've done their due diligence. They're happy to recommend the projects to their clients, and Feria is one of them. So, I don't want to take up one and rather too much of, from an attorney's point of view, because of course they do the legal work. From the project point of view, if they put in 50,000 or 70,000 and they get denied, would you refund that amount?
Yes, we will refund that.
Okay, that's so.
I mean, it's only fair that we do that. I mean, that's the. Of course, I mean, it's the honest way to wait. But when
I think Eduardo, what happens sometimes, a lot of times is, if there's like 6 investors into a project and you're the last investor and they've had 3-4 people waiting and they put you into the project, then it's only fair that you give them a bit of time to replace you. So in that time frame, they replace you.
Exactly. That would be the proper way to do it.
Yeah. We will replace you with another investor coming. Yeah.
We have other tools devised in case that happens to somebody. So that they can be assured that the money will go back to them as soon as possible. So
we have a couple of other questions. Please explain what types of jobs are being created in your project. So we have a structure that all of the bar operations, all of the management, all of the cleaning staff and cleaning crew, they are going to be employed by our company also. So I mean, and we also offer a service to these entrepreneurs. I mean, that we can help them with their employee and payrolls and stuff. So I mean, if you want to discuss that, we can go into details. I mean, it's a big conversation about how it's 156 direct jobs that we are going to create, and that all has been checked by the people at Baker Tilly and by industry experts in DC and our partners, and so it's that. So
yeah, we can if you want to further explore that, we can get into a call and
we can get into a Zoom call and go over that.
I think we can schedule a private, one-to-one with the investor. So, Eduardo, I think we've done the 1 hour. So, it's another wonderful webinar series. Is there any final comments that you have to the attendees? What would be your final remarks so we can pretty much wrap up this webinar?
Well, of course, again, Feria is our live project. So we will be very, very happy if you can join us here and make it your live project too. It's just a matter of opportunity and a win-win relationship for not just for the whole team, but also for the project as a whole. Juan, anything to that?
Yes, as we've been discussing during this webinar, we're two guys developing this idea. I mean, we've had this project for the last four years. As Eduardo said, it's a life project. We are going to be operating this, and we are going to be available for all of the investors and all of you guys all over your green card process.
And if one very last question, if you're willing to look for the direct option, you have to move 2 hours ago. So you have to do it now. We have everything ready for you to move on. If you're ready, let's just do it.
Yes. If you want to do the direct, it needs to be quick. You can submit a partial investment. We'll set you up with the lawyers. We'll give you a meeting today if possible. And if you have your source of funds, and if it's not complicated, we'll be able to try it and get you to file. But you will need to do a partial investment. That's very, very important.
Well, thank you, Eduardo and Juan. My team will be in touch.
Thank you very much, Sam.
Get your feedback. Eduardo, well done. Juan, well done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sam.
Giving us a full explanation to the audience. But I think we've got to do another one after the new regulations.
Yeah, of course. No, we'll have to refresh the whole presentation according to new requirements, which again, regional center should be fairly standard. So that should be very, very quick. We can do that whenever you want.
And for the attendees, if you want a copy of this, put a request in. We'll just make sure that we'll send you a copy just for your information. But look, again, time is of the essence. Don't wait around. We know this is your life savings. It's a very important. So we will share you the documents and then, digest the information. And Juan and Eduardo are happy to have a conversation directly with you because at the end of the day, you are investing into the project. And as you said, this is very important. They're skin in the game. They put their own funds into this. They're very passionate about this. Do a bit of homework on Eduardo and Juan because this is their livelihood. They got to make it work, and they're very passionate about this. So without further ado, Juan, thank you very much. Eduardo, thank you very much. And everyone.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, everybody.
And take care and God bless.
Thank you too.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.